Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking off some time tonight to watch us about this webinar about finding yourself, understanding the four U's. So I feel like a lot of people resonate with the topic, considering that ang daming gustong mag-career shift, ang daming kakagraduate lang siguro this end of the school year and now are very unsure on what next step to take. But let me just tell you, this webinar will blow your mind. It's going to let you know how there is so much more in life than just your career, and that's what's going to make your career all the more meaningful, purposeful, and worth doing, right? So enough about all of that ad lib. Let me just introduce to you Jashwin. Okay. So here he is. Hi, Jashwin. Can you say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Danica. First
Hello.
and foremost, I'd like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to you and to the rest of the Metamorphosis group for letting me speak today and hopefully to make people more aware of their path in life. But before all of that, how's your back?
Ah, okay lang yung back ko. It's doing much, much better right now. Well, thanks to you. Of course, including the doctor, but thanks to you. So
That
to
is wonderful.
everyone, yeah, to everyone who doesn't know yet, Joshua is actually a pranic healer and also a spiritual life coach. So, Joshua, maybe you want to tell everyone what a pranic healer is.
Okay, guys. So pranic healing is basically using the energy of the universe, harnessing the energy of the universe to heal your ailments, whether they be physiological, psychological, emotional, traumatic. We basically harness, just as how you use a magnifying glass to harness the light of the sun to start a fire, we harness the infinite, boundless energy to the part that hurts you the most, and through that, heal your ailment.
Yes, and that's actually the reason why me personally I engaged with Jashwin's pranic healing program. So, yeah, to everyone who doesn't know yet, maybe some of our batchmates are here. Hello. To
Hi,
everyone who
guys.
doesn't know yet, everyone who doesn't know yet, I actually had a major back pain. It ran for a month. Munti ko na sabing a year. It ran for a month and it was really painful. It started with having a lot of pains in my back every time I get out of bed, and it escalated to having 24/7 back pain. Let me just describe the pain. It was like something was drilling my spine every second of the day. That was the um, ailment that I had. And I went to see a doctor, and the diagnosis was that I had a benign tumor, which is called hemangioma. Right, so the benign tumor just grew on my back. The doctor really can't tell me why that happened, but my conclusion is it's stress. But that tumor is the reason why I'm having back pain and new nervous system pain in my legs, and also it resulted to a herniated disc as well. So yeah, a lot of difficulties in my life the past few days. I guess it's because I love my job so much that I didn't think that all of this stress would actually result to this. I mean, I thought that the stress was okay because I love my job, but sometimes you really need to take care of yourself. And what's nice about this experience of mine going into a program with Jashwin is that, oh, I learned a lot about life. So much about life. It's like these kinds of things had to happen to me just so I can open another door in my mind to really understand what life is about. And that's why we call this webinar Understanding the Four U's. So, what are those four U's? Sige nga, Josh, and maybe you want to talk to people about the four U's.
Okay, so guys, the topic for today is the four U's and how it relates to overcoming failure. But before I delve into this topic of the four U's, let's try to understand first why it's even important to talk about the four U's. Because usually people would think that we're only one U. I'm Jashwin and she's Danica. Um, but the point of this discussion today is to know that there are many layers to this person you call you. So to start off, I'd like to say that we are so much more than our physical bodies. Is it fair to say, guys, that our thoughts and emotions are real entities too? Our thoughts and emotions are as real as our physical actions. And look at history. Almost all wars, all violence started at the emotional level. People kill each other over a difference in thought, a difference in their belief system. So we can say that almost all our actions are influenced by what goes on in our mind. Okay? And how is this related to failure? Okay, so we've established that what we encounter affects us in so many different levels: the physical level, the mental level, and the emotional level. And we may not even be aware how each experience penetrates these levels and stays in those levels. And so that's why it's important for me and for Danica to tell you guys what are these four U's and how does it relate to overcoming failure.
So what's
Okay?
the first
So,
U?
so the first U is the physical body. And the physical body pertains to um, our nervous system, our circulatory system, our reproductive system. So everything that is physical about us, our hands, our legs, and science right now has done an excellent job in making sure that your physical you is working at its optimal level. For example, you can go through surgeries if you've broken a bone. You can take some tablets if you feel any pain in your body. And if you have a virus, you can take an antibiotic or an antiviral drug. So the physical you is the outermost layer of our identity. But you see, guys, that's not all there is to us. We're not just a mass of body parts together. And there's so many things that are deeper than that. And so the second you is the mental body. And that is comprised of our thoughts. So let's
Our
say,
consciousness. Yeah.
yes, our consciousness actually is still at a much deeper level than those thoughts. So, for example, you watch the TV show, you watch the series, and now you're rerunning the episode in your head. You're thinking about it. So that happens in the second you. Okay, so the second you is less subtle than the physical body, but it has a greater impact on us. For example, the idea of having currency, economy, laws. So the mental body acts as a limitation to the physical body. So we work under these ideas. Our actions are all influenced by what goes on in the mind. But yet there is still a more subtle aspect to that. Although they are on the same level and all of these happen at the same time, in order to understand them better, it's important to divide them into layers. And that is the third you, or the emotional body. And so emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, joy, grief, contentment, these all happen instantaneously. The moment you think of something, your response to that is an emotion. Okay? So, for example, and I see many people doing this now on Facebook. If they don't agree with a certain political candidate, a certain political party, they start bashing them online. And what
I
happens
see a lot
is,
of guilty people here.
yes, yeah. And I can't say I'm not one of them. I mean, I'm sure being part of this generation, it's already been embedded in us that we need to take an active role in the political situation.
Yes. Yes.
So For example, if you don't agree with a certain political candidate and you see one of their projects posted in your Facebook page, a certain anger starts to arise in you. And so that happens at the emotional level. And when you decide to type something on your keyboard, what are you going to say now in response to that anger? That happens at the mental level or the second you. And when your fingers start typing what you're going to say or what you've thought of, then that happens in the physical level. So these three levels, the first three levels, they work in synchronization. They work in harmony. Okay? And okay. And so that was just an example to show you how the physical, the mental, and the emotional body are not different layers, actually, but they are kind of a mesh. And we are all part of those first three layers. Okay. Now, who who is it that decided though to go through this whole process? Who is it that decided to be angry, to think of a way to express that anger, and to actually type out what they thought of? Who is that person behind the curtain of the physical, the mental, and the emotional body? Okay, so if you if you think about it, if I put a keyboard, I put a picture of a political candidate, and I put a skeleton, would the result come out? Would there be a negative review coming out? Would the action be done? So who is that behind the three bodies that wills this to happen? That wills the hatred for that person? So that is the fourth you. And the fourth you is the spiritual you or the soul. Okay, so the soul in you harnesses the memory from the physical, mental, and emotional you and turns the memory that the first three bodies gathered into conscious action. And this fourth you is the active aspect of your life that wills something. So, for example, I have a math problem to solve. And let's say the math problem is here, the ball pen is here, and a brain is there, and a hand is there. Will the problem be solved? Or does there need to be an energy that combines the mental acuity of the brain and the fingers to use the pen and the mind to think of a solution to the problem? So the one that harnesses all these three bodies together is the spiritual you. But guys, where does this will energy even come from? Where does it even begin? Um, that you get to will something to happen. Where is the source of this energy? And so the answer to that is actually more than the fourth you.
Oh,
There
so there's
is a
a fifth you.
Yes, there is a fifth
Okay.
you, and that is actually our surprise to you this evening, because it's not possible for the soul to will something without a source of energy. And so this is where your subjective life turns into an objective reality through the fifth you. And guys, what do we call that fifth you? I would like to call it the not you, because it becomes bigger than yourself. It becomes greater than yourself. And so the not you, which is the fifth you, is that which is beyond all concepts, all meanings, all theories. In a sense, if we look at our life as a painting, the fifth you is the canvas behind that painting. For the gamers out there, When you play a game with a character, the fifth you can be compared to the server that even holds this entire game together. And so the fifth you is that which enlivens. And it's even beyond the soul. Because the soul, your soul and my soul, we're just harnessing our own experiences together. But through the fifth you, that's when you become bigger than yourself, and that is when oneness is achieved. And so, for the religious people, they call the fifth you God. For the spiritual people, they call the fifth you consciousness, divine consciousness. And so, the fifth you is the highest version of yourself. And that is the highest good for yourself.
And
Okay?
it
Because
helps you find purpose, right?
yes. So people always think, and now I will relate the five U's to failure. People always think that when I failed in doing something, God wanted this to happen to me. And it's part of human nature to always blame a man with a white beard up there controlling and pulling the strings of our life. But actually, the fact that this fifth dimension is in you, there is no boundary between you and the divine. So, in a sense, you are the master of your own destiny, or at least the highest version of yourself. The version of yourself not clouded by your thoughts, by your emotions, and by your physical body, which are the first three U's. Okay, so if everything is one, then, because once again, this fifth U is that force which unifies us. So if everything is one, what you do to others is actually being done unto you. And so this is what I tell Danica in our sessions. The world is just a mirror of your own action. Whatever you do, when you help someone, you are actually helping yourself.
Yeah.
And when you hurt someone, because we're all united in that fifth you are actually hurting yourself. And so,
Yeah.
guys, success then. So, okay, so I talked about how God's will then is that highest you. And the only thing that the fifth you wants from the four other yous is unity. Because the fifth you is a unifying force. So that which is done for your highest good is God's will for you. Okay? And so if success is equated to wellness and wholeness, then failure is also equated to suffering. And the reason, at least in our studies in pranic healing, the reason that failure occurs is because there is a misalignment with this five U's. Your mind wanders off one way, your emotions wander off the other way, and because they don't align, you cannot elevate yourself to
And
reach the
you lose
highest version.
yourself. Yeah, that's
Yes,
what they
and
say, that you lose yourself and you have to find yourself again. Yeah.
you lose purpose, you lose direction, you lose motivation, and you feel empty inside because of this misalignment. So
Yeah.
guys, basically pranic healing, what got me interested with pranic healing is the spiritual alignment. And when you align yourself spiritually, you become a vehicle moving in one direction.
Yeah.
Because if you imagine a vehicle and each wheel is going in a different direction, you won't reach anywhere. You won't
Yeah.
get
Or you
anywhere.
could just stop in one place because you don't know where to go.
Exactly. And that's why people feel like they stagnate in life, like
Yeah.
there's no growth. And I hear a
Yeah.
lot of people who say, "Oh, I've left my company because there's no growth for me.
Yeah.
Um, I don't feel I'm learning much."
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're connected to that fifth you, to that objective reality, then everything in life becomes a teacher to you because you open yourself to to the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. That's a really nice way of describing the for yous and the surprise fifth you, right?
Yeah,
I actually, well, let's tell everyone. We discussed this on a separate occasion, right? Already. And we're just making it more clear to people what it actually means. I know there are a lot of people here who probably found that very abstract. Maybe they want to relate it to some literature that they like reading, like quantum physics or philosophy or psychology, right? How about we dissect them one on one? I mean, one by one, just so
sure.
it's easier for people to understand. So, as a gist, everyone, when all of your four bodies with the fifth body is aligned, you find your purpose, you find your direction, and that's what determines your goals in life, right? So it's pretty simple, right? But I know not everyone thinks like that. So let's talk to these kinds of people. First, you is the physical body. We
Yes.
were introduced to the physical body first when we were born in the world, right? So, yeah, okay, I have a physical body. I can move around. Think about those times when, um, man was created in scientific terms, the caveman, yan. So,
Yes.
so so that was the time when that was the beginning of how people became to exist. But since they only knew of the physical body, they're not very, very familiar with the other bodies. And when we began to evolve, that's when we got to know the mental body. And I suppose that's the reason why we started becoming civilized, right? Because
Yes.
we had the mental body to tell us that we are supposed to be civilized. And then over time, when there was an age of enlightenment, when we started discovering that, hey, emotions exist and you need it to live in life, it's time to evolve, right? So that's when we came to know the emotional body. Over time, when we got to understand more about ourselves, we started to get to know more about our spiritual body. It started to pop up somewhere, and we are we are somehow in the phase of life where we're still trying to figure out where is the the spiritual body. How am I gonna
Yes.
talk to this person, right? We haven't successfully become in touch with the fourth body, right? Because we are so busy with our busy lives, the hustle and bustle of the work life, the career life, school life, and everything. It makes us not feel the spiritual body, and that's the
Yes.
reason why people feel like they don't know what to do, right? They
Yes.
don't know what to do. What am I gonna do from here? And that's when the emotional body begins to sabotage the mental body and the physical body. That's when there becomes a block from the spiritual body from coming in and being showered by divine energy. Well,
Yes.
here's what I saw. Well, I'm just gonna say things as I go, right? Because it's really a nice conversation. So um to one of the my friends who are here, hello. So I actually told her that this webinar is dedicated for her. Hello, not gonna tell everyone her name, but the reason why we tried to understand or tried to describe the four bodies is basically because we want people to get to know about themselves better so that they can have direction in life. But the thing is, not everyone is familiar with these four bodies. So we have to dissect it here. So, I have this friend who actually feels like she doesn't have direction, and well, she knows what to do next, but she doesn't know where to go exactly, right? So she
Okay.
has those problems. And using the framework we just talked about right now, the four bodies and the fifth body, based on my assessment, it seems like there is a block, right?
Yes.
So her issue is she has a very, very big dream. Okay. She wants to become a doctor, but for some reason, she can't see it, and she's feeling a lot of these things that
Okay.
that she arguably isn't supposed to feel, right? Like despair, maybe, anxiety, disappointment, or fear of disappointment, um all of those similar negative emotions. And then what I saw in her was that whatever she was feeling during that time was what her three bodies were feeling: her physical body, her mental body, and her emotional body. That's what they were feeling. But I can
Yes.
actually tell that her soul didn't want to feel those things, right?
Yes.
Her soul didn't want to feel those things. Her soul was trying to say, "Hey, this is what you want to do in life. This is what you think you're meant to do, but why is it that the emotional, physical, and mental body isn't cooperating?" Right? So
Correct.
that's what I felt from her. And this is really the reason, one of the reasons why we started this webinar, because we actually want to address that issue, right? The issue
Yes.
being you want something, you're so scared because you reason out why it's not supposed to be for you. Oh, this decision isn't practical. Oh, this decision is going to make me hurt. Oh, this decision isn't good for me because I'm not smart enough, stuff like that. But the reality is, these feelings aren't hers, the
Yes.
true hers, right? It's not hers. It's her three bodies telling her that, hey, this is your feelings, but it's theirs, right? So,
Yes.
what do you think about that?
Okay. So our physical body, our mental body, and our emotional body are like sponges, and their only role is to accumulate everything around them. And so that's why when you go to many psychologists today, they say, okay, he became a criminal because from childhood he was mistreated, or there's a lot of history before anyone does something big, like, become a robber or a murderer. So these three bodies, their sole purpose is to just accumulate memory. And so your physical body accumulates memory, and that's why you have DNA. Your ancestors from so many generations ago have the same features as you because the body has memory, and the mind accumulates memory through all your thoughts, through all your experiences. And that's why we go to school, to learn to learn the knowledge that we can apply to the real world. And the emotional body accumulates all the emotions you feel with everything you encounter. So if somebody pissed you off today, if somebody hurt you today, that emotion gets stored in your emotional body. So it's kind of like a warehouse that you just keep storing things. Even though your attention isn't there, it's already been stored in your memory, which are the first three bodies. Um,
I
so
like how you
even in,
use the word memory. I'll go back to that later. Go ahead.
yes, so even if you look at a different direction in the warehouse and your consciousness has moved to that aspect, all the other aspects that you've experienced are already stored in these warehouses. And over time, the negative thoughts and the negative emotions start to cause cracks in your aura. It starts to damage everything else that is stored in your aura. It's like a virus. A virus doesn't just happen in a physical level. The negative thoughts of hate, grief, anger, resentment, these are emotional viruses. And over time, from the emotional level, when the emotional level gets overloaded with negative emotions,
Yeah, which is
it
like
comes down.
the outer field, right?
Yes, it comes
Yeah.
down to the mental level. And then your negative emotions turn to negative thoughts. And over time, as that accumulates too much, then it penetrates the physical level in the form of diseases, in the form of ailments, sicknesses. And so I always say, like in healing, psychological healing can give you great results, because it hasn't reached the physical level yet. It
Yeah.
hasn't
Yeah.
turned into a cancer. It hasn't turned
Yeah.
into something severe that could threaten your life.
Your
Um,
existence. Yeah.
exactly, your existence. So so with regards to what your friend is experiencing, with confusion, that starts at the emotional level. And so when you align yourself spiritually, you break through that barrier and in the process flush out all those
Yeah,
negativities in the
exactly.
lower levels because you've reached the
Exactly.
highest version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's a really great point you made. You used the word negative energy and you used the word memory. You know, I showed you this video on YouTube, which I don't know if you watched it, but but I sent
Okay.
it to your chat box like I think yesterday. So I was so fascinated with spirituality and how it actually makes sense. And honestly, even if people think it's so abstract, it's actually very concrete. So
Yes.
I was fascinated by the idea, but I know that people of our generation, and especially the younger ones, want a scientific explanation. Not that they reject spirituality, but their mind is
Yes.
more drawn towards scientific explanation, right? So I took some time on YouTube. I watched this
Mhm.
video of this scientist, this physicist, who who talked about spirituality or discovering spirituality in physics, specifically quantum physics. And he started off by saying, you would it's easy for us to just conclude that when there is one object and another object with this much distance, that there is space in between, right? That's what he
Yes.
said, that there is space in between. But when
Mhm.
he did his studies and he did his experimentations, it's not space that's in between two objects. There are atoms, sure, we all know that there are atoms, and there are electromagnetic fields, which could be, for non-believers of the field that we were talking about earlier, the emotional, mental, physical. For the non-believers here, physics was actually able to prove that there are electromagnetic fields around us, and these
Yes.
electromagnetic fields, every atom in the electromagnetic field is connected to every other atom in the universe, right? So
Correct.
whenever each atom receives information, it sends information to other atoms in the universe. And that is the reason why we feel when somebody is going or something's going wrong or somebody is feeling bad. We feel it even if they don't say anything. And that's what people say, you have negative aura, or you have I feel something bad that's gonna happen. Yung mga ganyan, 'di ba?
Yes.
So yeah, you were saying.
Okay. So when we talk about I started this talk by saying that when we talk about our thoughts and our emotions, they are as real as our physical body because actually most of the work that we do happens on the mind and on our emotional level, on
Yeah.
the second and third you. So when we look at everything in the scientific perspective, you see the thing about science, kasi it likes to dissect everything part by part.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why even just dividing ourselves into 5 layers is already a scientific approach to understanding our true essence because science likes to dissect. If
Yeah,
they want
have
to
all of these
understand you,
equations. Yeah.
yeah. And even when you go to a science class, I'm sure all of us have dissected a frog uh, in one grade or the other, diba? So science uses the intellect, which is the foundation of science, uses dissecting as a way of analyzing things. But spirituality, on the other hand, uses unity and oneness as a way of understanding the infinite. So while science understands everything on the outer level, spirituality, through the scientific approach, is meant to understand yourself at the inner level.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that made me read up more about my philo readings in
Yeah.
college. Hi again, my Ateneo schoolmates or alumni mates. Anyway, so I read up more about my readings in college, specifically about Heidegger and Descartes, right? So
Yes.
I was in this geeky spree of reading up about things because I was really looking for answers about the facts of life, the truth about the world, stuff like that. And it's so easy to just, um not believe these things when you're in college because we were so trained to have proof first before believing in something. But there are
Exactly.
things in life that you experience on your own that it's so strong, the belief is so strong that you don't really need proof. And this proof is just gonna come to you maybe later on in life, maybe centuries later, but you feel it in yourself. How
Yes.
why are you gonna wait for that proof to come up before you actually believe what you feel, right?
Yes.
So anyway, just I was just making that a side note. So I was reading about Heidegger and Descartes, and I remember Descartes. A lot of people in college were laughing
Yeah.
about his meditations. They're like, he was like smoking weed. That's what people said. That Descartes was like smoking weed. So,
Yes.
about him, he basically said that everything we see right now are probably not real, right? It's probably not
Okay.
real. And that's the reason why he said, doubting is the most concrete or the most sure thing, I guess, that's happening in the world. So, um, basically, after doing all of these mental exercises in his meditations, he realized that um, maybe the mind or existence is just a floating cogito, a
Yes. Yes.
floating thinking thing. That's his conclusion. Maybe we're all floating thinking things. Maybe, all these other things aren't real. Whenever I hear that, I mean, lately, whenever I hear that, I imagine something like, um it's just it's like you're dreaming. Whenever, I mean, it
Exactly.
doesn't have to be what he really means, but it's like you're dreaming when you think you're a floating cogito.
It's
And
like an
then,
illusion.
yeah, it's like you're dreaming, and then I can't help but realize that maybe that was his way of saying, although I can't be sure. I hope it's okay with him to actually make myself conclude that maybe he means that he detached himself from his four bodies. I don't know, right? Maybe that's what he means. I have no idea what he means, but that that all of those information pieced together make me realize that someone long ago has already discovered that we can separate ourselves from the three bodies. And we ourselves have already experienced it every day when we sleep. It's whenever we dream, right? And that's when you
Yes.
introduced to me this term called the inner world,
Yes.
right? The inner world is like another dimension. And that's when I remember in that video I showed you about that physicist. Why do people like going away from Earth, going outside to discover new things when we haven't even tried understanding what's inside of us? There's
Yes.
another world inside of us, inside here or wherever you want to point it, right? That's what you were saying is the inner world, right? And the inner world is so fascinating to me. The idea of the inner world is so fascinating to me, especially because you said that all of our inner worlds are connected. I really love that.
Exactly.
You know why I was so fascinated with that? Because back in college, I think I was in second year college, our psychology prof was talking about hypnosis. Yeah, she was talking
Okay.
about hypnosis. Basically, um, her professor hypnotized everyone in class, and
Wow.
and my professor during that time, she wasn't a professor then, she was still a student, right? My professor during that time was saying that she saw something. She saw a pink room with a pink teddy bear. Everything's pink. It's a girl's children's bedroom. And then she explicitly described what she saw, and she said that to the professor. After a few minutes, one of her classmates cried.
Okay.
You know why she cried?
Why?
Because that was her memory.
And I
And then
guess that yeah.
that's when I realized that could they were all connected in the inner world when they were all hypnotized. That that
Yes.
professor saw what was inside her inner world, right? So that's what made me so fascinated about those things, right? Again, I know everyone wants to hear about how this is helping you find yourself, but the entire point of life is to continuously find yourself, right? All of these
Exactly.
facts, all of this information we are sharing to you are all ways or realities to help you understand the world better, your existence better, and how it can help you figure out what the best life is for you, what your direction is, what your purpose is. Hold on. It's 9:10, but we really love to extend. Is that okay with you, Joshwin? Do you want to
Sure.
extend? Because
Yes, I have all night to talk about this.
I'm seeing messages pop up on my Facebook about people saying good things. So maybe they want us to continue. Anyway,
Yes,
so yeah,
absolutely.
so those are the stories that made me so fascinated. And although people want to hear about a concrete end-to-end process about finding yourself, these are just information that can help you supplement your search for yourself, right? Oh, what do you think about that?
Okay, so the question I think now that must be brewing in everyone's minds is, how is this related to me finding a job or what I want to do in life? Now that I know that there's a fifth you that unites all of us through consciousness, and that in essence we are all one, how does this apply to me finding a job? So let's bring it down to our to the problem at hand, to our questions in life. Okay, so the thing is, life is a journey, and all of us, and we were it was discussed to us in pranic healing that we are all in a process of evolution to reach that fifth you, and that fifth you, once you reach that fifth you, that is called spiritual awakening
Yeah.
or enlightenment,
And that's when you
or
bring heaven to earth.
that's when you bring heaven to earth. That is our Grand Master's vision, bringing heaven to earth. And bringing heaven to earth will only be possible if everyone is in touch and connected to that fifth you, or the
Yes.
not you, or the all. Now, to put this in the context of your job has to be something that will help you move towards finding yourself. Okay, so let's say for example your job is a robber, and your job every day is to rob banks, diba? um, and to take advantage of other people's hard-earned money and just put that in a bag and go home and enjoy the money. That would detach you from oneness with all, because again our true essence is oneness. So this is where also morality comes into play, because we are all connected. By taking advantage of others, you are separating yourself. You are detaching yourself from everyone's actions, from everyone's hard-earned money, by stealing it. So that's how you can discern what is a good career for you and what is a bad career for you. Or if you have a career for you that will develop you further, that will make you more socially involved, that will make you put yourself in the other person's shoes, that will improve a lot of lives, then that is definitely working towards your own fulfillment and not away from it.
Yeah,
So I
I
feel
love
that
that.
should be the basis by
Yeah.
which everyone decides their path in life, because work
Yes.
work should be a stepping stone to your self fulfillment.
Yes, I love that point. I didn't think about that because my perspective about how this actually helps in jobs, it is that it helps you gain some kind of hyper awareness, right? I
Yes.
did tell you during our calls that 2 years ago I reached a certain level of enlightenment that healed me from my mental health issues in the past, right? It healed me,
Yes.
and people would say, oh, she learned life coaching, so that healed her. But if you think about it more, it's like,
Mhm.
it that healing process made me realize what other things I have to do for my life so that it could help other people, right?
Yes.
I was healed because of life coaching, and I use life coaching to help other people. So so that was really a wow moment for me. Now when I did it more often, coaching more
Mhm.
often, I reached this certain hyper awareness, is what I could call it. I
Okay.
started understanding life much better. You know, you know the things I know about social sciences like business, politics, psychology, other parts of philosophy. S- A lot of these things were the answers I got just to understand a lot of these things came from within.
Yes.
And then I thought I was going to learn that purely just from school, but I
Yes.
learned it within. And that's why some people would actually ask me, why are you why do you talk like that? You don't talk like you're 24, because I'm actually just 24. People think I'm older. I mean, most of the people I hang out with online are 30 plus, and some of my board members are 30 plus to 50 plus. So yeah, they really really are surprised that I have some level of maturity, right?
Mhm.
And that's what I give credit to. Being spiritual, being able to get to know the four U's, to be able to get closer to the fifth U. It made me understand myself better, gave me this awareness, gave me all the answers to my questions, but I believe that it doesn't stop there, right?
Correct.
I don't think we'll ever stop trying to understand ourselves because the world evolves, and when the world evolves, people evolve with it.
Yes.
So why is evolution of the world and evolution of people important? Well, basically because um, when the world evolves, new problems arise, some solutions become irrelevant. And that's what I
Correct.
tell a lot of people that, oh, um, there are jobs that get eliminated in the market, and um, they become obsolete because technology took them over. And it's still a continuous discussion for people. They hate that. They hate the idea that one day we will be replaced by technology. All of our
Technology.
jobs will be replaced by technology. But then people don't realize this one thing. Technology isn't trying to replace our opportunities. It's providing us more opportunities, right? So I mean, the entire point of trying to be spiritual, the entire point of trying to understand your purpose is that you have to create more solutions to these worldly problems, right? So that you will have more time, more energy, and talent to pursue higher level work, higher
Yes.
level activities that advance the human race, right?
Yes.
Jobs aren't eliminated because somebody wants you to just be jobless, right? The the world evolves, and when the world evolves, new problems come with each. It will require new
New
solutions,
solutions.
right? And all the other solutions become menial, and those will be replaced by technology because they're too menial already to become relevant. You don't want to do menial tasks, right? So menial tasks become automated. They become, a part of technology, so that people will continue to get to know themselves better, get to advance their human experience, right? I think that's the entire point of everything about spirituality, and that's really what hit me. And
Yes.
we always talk about all of these spiritual stuff and purpose and everything, but I don't think people exactly know what the process should be. What's
Exactly.
your opinion about that?
Okay. So I'd like to appeal to those scientific minds out there who, at this point, might be saying that, how do I know there is even a fifth you? How do I know there's even an intelligence beyond me that is actually the highest version of me? How do I know? Okay, let's go back to your example of the caveman. Okay, and let's connect that to Newton's law of motion, that energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. So, for a caveman to grow to become who we are today, that transformation can only take place if the intelligence was already present to begin with. It was just a matter of time for the caveman to realize a better and more intelligent version of himself, to start domesticating animals, and then to start colonies, communities, and then industrialization and so forth. So that intelligence had to already have been there to begin with, for you to even get this far. And so that source of intelligence that was already present, and which we are trying to uncover through technological breakthroughs and through our spirituality and through all the five U's, through all the four U's, sorry, to uncover that fifth U, is already there. Everything we need and everything we need to know and we want to know is already there, because the energy of knowing, the energy of that knowledge, is neither created nor destroyed. So our growth, our advancements in technology is actually us getting closer to a different realm of intelligence. And so when I talk to you about the inner world, that is the realm of intelligence that is already in all of us, but sadly has been untapped
Yes.
throughout the history of man.
Yes, yes. I love that explanation. A lot of people actually don't know that, no, that the inner world. Well, we're always in the inner world. We just don't know that it
Yes.
is the inner world, right? Oh, um, maiba naman, no, about all of these feelings of spirituality and everything. I did kind of tell you about how spirituality helps me in my profession, right? My
Yes.
profession involves listening to people's problems, right? And
Okay.
I remember telling you that when I was younger, um, I was like all of the other traumatized people, that whenever I was vulnerable, um, for some reason people would hurt me more, and people would make me uncomfortable for being vulnerable, right? I promised myself that I would never do that to anyone, but the sad thing is, it's so hard, right? It's so hard to promise to that, given that if you keep on refraining, letting go of people and stuff, you would have to absorb all of these negative energies, which is why people say that, emotional people are toxic and they are emotional vampires, basically. But I never settled with that explanation, right? I never settled with, really, are we just gonna conclude that all of the needy people, all of the hurt people, all of the people who want the support that they deserve, are we just really gonna let them go, right? Are we really just
Yes.
going to say that they're toxic and we're not gonna help them? Is that really the point of living, right? So, I've been searching all my life, trying to find answers on how to do that without appearing like you're a masochist, or like feeling like you're a masochist, right? And
Mhm.
then it hit me one day, which was a few weeks ago when we started, right? One day I realized that, oh, there is a way to still continue doing that and still be whole, still be complete, still be full of divine energy, right? Full of happiness and bliss and peace, right? There is a way to do that,
Exactly.
right? And that
Yes.
way is, you can't do it alone. That's what I discovered. You can't do it alone. You have to really seek help from divine energy, whether you call it God, or it's the universe, or all the other gods in every religion in the world, right? It doesn't matter what you call it, but it's all the same. If you have divine energy flowing in you, it flushes out all of the negative energy. So what's left of you is just all of this love and compassion and peace and grace that is so overflowing, that you have enough room to give it to other people. And that's when,
Yes.
one of my friends actually asked me, she's my friend, and she talked to me, and she was sort of almost close to crying. She said,
Okay.
how could anyone take a chance on me? How could you take a chance on me? How can you love me with all of my insecurities, the ugly me? How can you love someone so difficult? Right? She said something
Yes.
like that. And I said, I've reached a certain level of my life where I know how to handle it, and I don't
Mhm.
regret it. I'm not going to be mad at it. I'm going to accept you because I'm full of love and divine energy, and I'm going to give it to you because I can afford it, right? I
Yes.
can afford it. I am overflowing with, okay, to the economic people here, it's called assets or
Yes.
resources, right? I have so much overflowing
Assets.
resources and
Mhm.
assets that I can share to you because I can afford it, right? So, so yan, all of these things, ang laki ng bagay, ang laki ng benefit of being actually spiritual or opening up a spiritual door. It has so many benefits that if only we were all able to tap it. Just like how we tap the emotional body or recognize that we have to keep the emotional body healthy. Kaya nga a lot of people are advocating for mental health na ngayon eh. Actually, they
Yes.
kulang nga yung word na emotional health in the narrative eh. Pero yun
Yes.
nga eh, that's the reason why these days we've been advocating for mental health and emotional health. That I think is a progression of the human race, right? But one day when we start advocating and realizing and recognizing that, you know, having spiritual health is actually important for us, then maybe, the pain that depressed people have or traumatized people have would be much less because they have
Yes.
opened the door to flush all of that out. There are people, for example, who go to psychiatrists. I'm not against going to a psychiatrist. I mean, if you need it, you need it. But the thing is, what I saw, based on my opinion, right? Because I
Mhm.
actually sought help before,
Yeah.
the thing about psychiatrists is that they help on the physical
Physical.
and the mental level. I mean, depending on the
Yes.
medicine that they give or the treatment they give, right? They help on the physical and mental level. It's like a shield for the physical and mental level so the emotional body doesn't sabotage the two of them, right?
Yes.
So so that's a shield, and when your physical and mental bodies are intact, that's when you have enough room to actually speak to someone like, a psychotherapist, maybe a
Mhm.
spiritual advisor, you choose, right? But when you're able to numb or silence the pain of the physical and mental bodies, you have room to find somewhere or some place or open a door within you that can flush out all the negative energies, so that when you're done with drinking all of those antidepressants or all of the other treatments, you will be whole again. And I'm not telling people, for example, mag-pray ka lang. That's not what I mean eh. Kasi
Yes.
it's a very comprehensive process. All
Mhm.
of these things to heal completely, to be happy, to actually have the energy to move forward, you need to tap into the four U's. You need to make sure that
Exactly.
all of them are healthy, right? So what do you think about that?
Exactly. Okay. So right now, kasi most people are under the impression that they have to be on one end or the other. They have to be in the completely physical side of healing. And right
Yes.
now, psychiatrists and science is focused on the outer healing. So that's why when you go to a psychiatrist, the solution to all your emotions is a tablet. But actually, before all these psychiatrists, when it was just physical ailments, tablets were the solution because a physical solution for a physical ailment. But right now, would you guys think it's enough to take a tablet to flush out all the years of trauma, of emotional stress, negativity? Would a tablet, a physical tablet, that's just meant to balance the serotonin levels in your brain, would that be enough to make you whole again? And
Yeah.
so that's why I got into this whole practice of pranic healing. Because because science right now is focused on the outer aspects of life, but like I said at the start, our thoughts and our emotions, which are the major driving forces of our lives, happen on an inner level. And so, complementary to the tablets you take, to the psychiatrists you see, and to the doctors you see, you also need to align yourself spiritually. And so, what pranic healing does is we scan for those negative energies in all these four U's, and we sweep them out for you, and we energize you with fresh divine energy coming from the fifth you. So we're kind of like channels, to
Yeah.
help you realize your highest self. And when
Yeah.
you do that, that is when freedom from ailments, from sicknesses, from stress, from trauma, from all kinds of diseases is achieved. Because I think we learned in theology that there are two aspects of freedom, diba? Freedom from and freedom for. So when you reach that that fifth you, that highest level, you get freed from all your suffering, and then you become free to be a light unto others, as the Buddha said, to help others, to uplift others, and only then can we fulfill a Grand Master's vision of heaven on earth, when everyone
Yeah.
is free from suffering, from negativity, from ailments, and
Yeah.
we use that freedom to help each other, to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
there for each other.
Yes, yes, because pain and suffering are obstacles to advancing the human race. 'Di ba? It's a
Exactly.
very, very significant obstacle that needs to be um, healed every day so that we can
Yes.
continue our innate desire to advance our existence, right?
Yes.
So that is very, very significant. And why? I mean, maybe some people are asking here, why do we keep talking about spirituality? I want to know how I can find my direction. I want to know how I'm gonna do well in my job. I want to know how to find myself so I know what specific job title to get. But the entire point of careers and work is so that we can continue the good quality of our life. That's what
Yeah.
people are missing out. You didn't graduate from college just to do these things lang and have all of these awards and all of these accolades or whatever. Okay, sure. If that's what you want, okay. But um the entire point of work is to solve problems. Why do we have to solve problems in the first place? It's not like a math problem na tapos na, get a grade. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like that. We are solving problems because these problems are hindering us from moving forward,
Exactly.
from advancing, from progressing. We need to continuously solve these problems. And what we know in human history, the more we solve problems, the more new problems pump up, the more new solutions have to come up. And that's the reason why, new jobs are popping up as well, right? So yeah, that's the entire thing about spirituality. It's so broad but so powerful. It touches up on a lot of things, right? If you're the kind of person who feels like you don't know how to do the job search, if you feel like you don't know how to get that eureka moment, sometimes aligning yourself can actually give you the strategy to find a good job, right? To strategize and getting the next opportunity. If you don't know how to progress your career, how to transition, develop it, or set goals for your career, sometimes aligning yourself helps as well. The more obvious one is when you have this existential crisis in your career. Obviously, I mean, for reasons that I don't need to fully describe or explain, when you're aligned, you don't feel that existential crisis of not knowing what to do next because you're complete. You have the guide that you need. And the thing is, sometimes you don't need to do it alone. A lot of people will tell you to pray or to meditate. Sometimes, this is a new concept I found out. Praying isn't only just putting your two hands together and closing your eyes and reciting the prayer in the church, right?
Yes.
That's not the only way to pray. I actually discovered a way to pray where you actually talk to a human being. Sometimes you find peace and happiness, and you don't know that you're praying already, but you prayed when you talk to, your friend. And for some reason, there's this kind of enlightenment that changes you. And that's sometimes what talks to you and tells you to move forward and do all of these things so that you can help advance the human race, right? What do you think about that?
Yes. So I think this conversation is now moving to more practical aspects. You
Yeah.
see, because now that we've discussed so many abstract things, like, okay, we are all one, we are the divine consciousness, that is our fifth you. and our fourth you carries out the will through our third you, which is the emotion, and then the mind, and then the physical action. But how exactly do we get in touch and spiritually align ourselves with our highest version of ourselves? How exactly? What is a step-by-step practical process that an ordinary Joe can use to align himself, which will then benefit his health, his career, finances, and all the aspects? So, to find that out, the answer actually lies in a course that
Okay.
helps you get in touch with yourself. I would personally like to invite everyone to attend the Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul course offered by the Pranic Healing Foundation. And in this course, okay, I think Danica's pulling up the poster. The educator, okay, so there are 8 living masters of pranic healing, all of which have done miraculous healings, and one of them is Master Faith. She will be carrying out this course, teaching the course, and if you look at the curriculum, it teaches you the 6 A's: awareness of our true nature, affirmation of our divinity, activation of human and divine love, atonement or inner purification, and alignment to our divine mission. And for me, right now, with regards to your career, alignment to our divine mission is of extreme importance, and at one meant to achieve divine union. So basically, these are the practical ways to connect you to your fifth you. And so yeah, you are all invited, and yeah, please have a look at the course, the syllabus, and Danica will also share the schedules and the
Yeah.
course fees.
I shared it in the comment section, guys, in case you want to see that.
So yeah, these are the ways for you to actually get in touch with your inner self
Yeah.
and to
Oh,
conquer all the obstacles in life and to
that's
move
right.
forward.
That's right. So, we have had such a productive talk. It was so amazing. We still have 12 people here who are with us, no? So, if there are any questions, feel free to comment. We'll read it and we'll try to answer them. Okay?
Okay.
So, maybe let's give them a few minutes. In the meantime, no. So guys, kwento ko lang, after this session, magpa-pranic healing session pa kami. It's our last session and I'm really
Yes.
excited because I'm so well excited to actually open another door in my life. Every time me and Josh meet, it's like, whatever conversation you saw here in this webinar, mas makulit pa kami dun sa talk na yun. We could
Times
like
10.
talk, yeah, we could like talk for hours and still have you share the same brain for somehow, right? Actually, nga the first time we talked, I remember telling him, "Wow, I actually believe in that too, and I'm so surprised that I have someone else believe in this too." And that was when I actually told him, "Wow, you make me feel like I'm not alone. There are many of us who believe in these things and think like this, right? And we are so into it that we know how it's going to be connected to all of our other aspects of life. That's just so amazing, right? What do you think,
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah. I'm also very happy to see someone who is as receptive as Danica. And so, as she told you a while ago, I mean, when we started the healing, she couldn't even do many of the things that she can do now, like move as much or even talk as much and be as happy as she is now. And she is a testament to the effectivity of pranic healing, I would say.
Yeah. You remember when I told you I jumped for joy at some point
Yeah.
and I totally forgot that I had a back pain. But after I jumped, I realized, oh, it's gone. Right? So that was wow. That was amazing. Okay, let me just check the comment section. Are there anyone who have questions? Seems like people are shy. Or maybe there are some in the MG inbox that I can't view right now. But anyway, in any case, if there are questions in the inbox, we'll answer them accordingly.
Definitely.
And If there are last minute questions in the comment section, we'll just make a pub mat or a poster one of these days to answer those questions. In the meantime, thank you so much, Jashwin, for
Thank
being
you
with
for
us
having me.
tonight. Yeah, it was such a productive talk. Let me just read the comments of some people here just to,
Sure.
hype you up. One of them said, "Hi, Josh, congrats, son." Love this. And then there are emojis. And you're so rocking this, my darling Jashwin. How
Oh,
how do someone find their passion? Wow. This has been a life-changing discussion. And this webinar will perpetually be in our FB page. It will also be on our YouTube. So to those who missed out, your friends, if they missed out on this, no problem. We're not going to erase this. You can view this anytime at your convenience, whether here in our FB page or on our YouTube there. Okay, any last things you want to share, Jashwin?
okay. So, how do you know what is your? I think somebody asked in the comment section. How do you know what is your passion? Tama ba?
Really? Somebody said, no, how do, yeah, okay, that is a question. How do you know what your passion is?
Okay. How do you know what your passion is? So, like I've said a while ago, there is no preordained passion for you. From
I
a
love it.
man with a beard up there, there is no
There's no
preordained.
prophecy. Yeah.
Yes, there is no one there to tell you that this is your destiny and that you must only do this. And
And that
like
you
there
can't,
are,
yeah, and that you can't escape
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yes. So your passion is the one that leads you to your highest self. That is your passion, to your highest good, and to that divine will to make you united with everyone, to make your values better and more inclusive to people around you. That is your passion. In any field you choose, in any job you choose, that is what you are naturally passionate about. And it's just a matter of time until you discover that.
Okay. I hope that answers the question. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Was it Mita? So thank you so much for your question, Mita. And um someone named Nico Magalona just wanted to give feedback. Very informative night. Thanks, MG and Sir Josh.
Thank you,
Wow.
Miko.
Special mention. Okay. Thank you again, everyone, for coming. It was a nice night. Napa-extend kami kasi sobrang saya niyong kausap. Right? And of course, thank you then, Jashwin, for being with us tonight. Very productive, very inspiring talk. Right? I'm
Yeah,
hoping we can, get a meditation program organized by you and us, right?
sure.
Soon, right? For everyone who wants to go, we can organize something like that. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Jashwin. Have a nice
Thank
night.
you. Thank you for the very insightful discussion, Danica. I learned a lot from you, and we always learn a lot from each other. So thank you
Of
for
course.
that.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
night,
And
everyone.
good night, everyone.
Bye.